Well, welcome. You're watching this special coverage on CNBC TV 18. This is the time we talk about the big buzz from Dalal Street. IDFC and Shriram merger talks. As we at CNBC TV 18 have been reporting for the last few days, IDFC Twins and Shriram Group are all set to announce their mega merger plan. In fact, our sources tell us that the announcement could come as soon as the next 1 hour. Nisha Poddar, who first broke that story, joins us with more. Nisha, what are you picking up? Something brewing in the next 1 hour?
That's right, Anisha. In fact, this has been the most anticipated press conference where we would see the top management of IDFC Group as well as the Shriram Group really talking about the mega merger that they are planning. So today, what they are expected to announce is that they are entering into an exclusive talk to create a big powerhouse in financial services space, which is worth about $10 billion with the book size of over 2 lakh crore rupees. It's going to be a humongous task in terms of the complexities that this entire transaction requires and the kind of structuring that it will entail because of also the RBI guidelines and meeting those regulations. Now, just before the announcement, we have some information on what it could really entail. So what I do gather from sources with direct knowledge is that the merged entity could be co-branded as IDFC Shriram. Remember, IDFC Bank is the one which is going to be the larger beneficiary of this entire conglomerate because it reads the retail participation. But what we do gather is also that Shriram as a brand has been created over the years, has huge amount of traction, and that brand is going to be retained. So IDFC Shriram is the brand that we are talking about that could be really coming out of this large transaction which would start its exclusive talks. What we do also gather in terms of the entire structure. Now, we have 2 listed entities under Shriram Capital in the lending business, which is Shriram Transport Finance and Shriram City Union Finance. Both of these could be merging with IDFC Bank, which is into lending business. So all the lending companies could come under one umbrella. But the catch is that the SLR and the CRR requirement could be huge, really dampening the effect of the entire merger, and the cost overruns could be high. So that has been one thing that the market has been waiting and watching out for and needs clarity on. What I do gather from sources with direct knowledge is that Shriram Transport Finance and its SLR and CRR requirement by way of the merger could be waived if RBI gives permission. For that, the 2 merged entities or the 2 partnering entities could be going and seeking that special permission from the Reserve Bank of India, and those efforts have already begun is what I gather. So that takes care of the extra cost overrun that could come in, which could have been a challenge for IDFC Bank going forward. What I also gather is that, remember, we have forgotten about the Shriram AMC business, which is also a listed entity under Shriram Capital. Smaller entity in the overall group, but that is the one could be merging with IDFC AMC business, which is in the parent company IDFC Limited. By way of that, another offshoot, a listed entity could be created is what we gather. After that, Shriram Capital also has closely held life and general insurance businesses. They could really merge with IDFC Limited. They could really come into IDFC Limited. So that's the structure that we are working on, where Shriram Transport Finance, Shriram City Union Finance going into IDFC Bank, special permission being sought from RBI to waive the CRR and SLR requirements. On the other hand, IDFC AMC as well as Shriram AMC getting merged together as listed entity, and life and general insurance businesses also coming in the parent company of IDFC Bank, IDFC Limited. So this is the large transaction that we are talking about, for which the exclusive talks would really begin. I also spoke to some of the big investors in Shriram Group, and Piramal Enterprises, which has substantial stake at Shriram Capital level and the 2 listed entities as well, is expected to stay on and in a diluted version in the overall larger bank after the merger as well. I even spoke to some sources, and Apex Partners, which is also present as a big investor in Shriram Group, is also expected to, in a diluted limited form stay on with this larger entity. So all these details and substantial bit of that ahead of the actual announcement coming in, and that's what I gather from sources with direct knowledge. We can leave it to the experts to analyze this transaction, and of course at 5 is when the press conference is expected to begin, and I'll be right there to speak to the management and quiz them on the entire structure as well.